elbow carpal.
All right, I've got you streaming now.
Oh my gosh, we're on YouTube. I have to tell Facebook. Hi, Facebook. How's it going? I'm in studio today. There's no video right now,
no
but
video.
I'm just going to do this in case it like catches it anyways. And maybe I'll end it and I'll try it again.
I just wasn't.
But just
I
click
could
on the
pull up my
link
notes.
and go there right now. You can do it.
You'll just be the more prepared one. That's okay. I'm okay with that. You're more prepared than I am all the time. So that's just, you're better than I am.
I'm going to be in there one more time. I'll be right back.
Okay. Let me try again. Share on in a group that you manage. No, on a page you manage.
Do you have a podcast group? You probably should.
I do.
Okay.
4 people are in it. It's like really popular, and every time I post something, nobody one says anything. 3, 2, 1. Are you ready? 5. Remember this? 4. Jock jams. 3, 2, 1. Oh, anyways, we're live on YouTube. You can watch it. You don't have to. You should, because we're going to be talking with Laine and Bree. And it's going to be all things planning. And like, what is that? What president is that? Nixon?
I realized in the middle of it that it
It's
was Nixon, but
Nixon.
it's more so like,
Yeah.
to me,
I'm
it's
not a
like
crook.
rock and roll, but that's the wrong.
That's the wrong fingers.
Fingers.
Try again. Here we go. With Laine and Bree. With the right finger, thumbs up.
She's like, that's more neutral ground.
Yeah.
Okay, if you'd like to continue watching this, use the link in the comment, and I'll see you there. Bye. Hey, still YouTube.
Oh, right.
That went well. So far, so good.
So far, win. Okay, let me just pull up my notes so we can talk, and then Ian will whisper in our ears, and we'll be good to go.
Do we get to hear the intro?
No.
Mm-mm.
Do you want to?
Can I just do it?
Yeah. You can.
I don't have the script.
There it is. YouTube can't hear
Puts me
it.
in the mood.
Oh, YouTube can hear it.
Oh, YouTube can hear it. Seated jigs.
I'm waiting for you.
But we do need it to be silent to start, so sorry.
Okay. Wait, let me pull up my notes. How's your week's been going since I've seen you last? I feel like it's been 2 weeks.
It's been a while.
Good. Thought we were supposed to be silent.
I was just saying I can't have the music in the open.
Oh,
'Cause
you're
we have-
supposed to be
'cause
silent.
we do it all in
I can
post.
talk whenever I want.
Just tell me what to do.
Hey, gals, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good. For our Apple Podcast listeners, will you just say your name so people can get acquainted with which voice is yours?
Yes. My name is Laine.
My name is Bree.
I hope that sounds different.
I hope it does too.
I could talk like this the whole time if you want.
That's Bree. So
My name is Bree. I don't want to do that.
We definitely have different.
I feel like there should be
voices.
voices in this episode, though, on Sunday. Do you ever have, like, the vendor table and you just, like, make fun of people while you're sitting at that table? Usually it's bridesmaids. Sorry, bridesmaids. No? Well,
Bree's like, I don't
I
make
do
fun
that.
of anyone ever.
I did
Never.
a lot of that. I was cracking jokes left and right, and I talked about this one in particular when bridesmaids are really like concerned about themselves, but they're trying to be like a good friend. So they'll go up to the bride and they'll be like, "Oh my God, you look so pretty, except this one hair is weird. This one, let me get a bobby pin because that's a weird hair." And they're like, "What? Like that hair was fine. There's nothing wrong with that hair. Like go away."
Leave her alone.
Just me? That only happens with me. Well, let's talk about the difference between venue, like wedding planners, and day of coordinators that the venue provides, and then the ones that like a couple would hire. So a professional wedding planner or day of coordinator. And like for you guys, what's the biggest difference?
Do you want me to start?
Oh, we're going. Okay.
Go.
I'll start. I'm Bree. Okay, so I think first thing to say is it's really important when you are selecting your venue to ask them for great detail on what their venue coordinator provides. So
Yeah.
as a salesperson of a venue, their job is to sell you on the venue and all the benefits that they provide, and that's great. But there often is a big difference between a venue coordinator and a independent day of coordinator that you would hire.
Like one example.
One example would be, well, there's so many examples.
And maybe a huge caveat would be that every venue differs.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And so some of their day of coordinators or their included wedding planners go above and beyond and like hustle their pants off.
Yep.
But most don't.
Yep. And sometimes even a venue will contract with a wedding planning company and offer actual professional full-scale
Services.
day of
Right.
coordinators
Right.
for
So
their
very
clients.
confusing.
Very confusing and different for everybody, for sure. Yeah. But probably the biggest difference would be the level of detail that they're able to get into. So a venue coordinator often has the venue as one of their responsibilities. So
Right.
they're there to make sure the lights are on and the doors are unlocked and they can adjust the heat and turn
People
on the
don't
fans
park in
and
the
off
wrong
fans.
spot.
Yep. Yep, all of that stuff. And then sometimes they go beyond that into helping you figure out your floor plan. Maybe the venue
Yep.
provides furniture. They help you with any of the venue provided services. So if your venue provides bartending or if your venue is in charge of the catering, they're helping organize those things. Someone in a sales role and then also in an organizational standpoint. Sometimes a venue coordinator will even go above and beyond and help you line up for your Processional.
Yes. Like Tracy, I was just at Nicollet Island and she was like, oh, do you want to do this? Do you want me to? Because she doesn't always work with a day of coordinator. So then it's like she's used to stepping into that role, which is nice. That's like really nice.
Yeah.
Because if you're a bride and a groom or a groom getting married, you can't cue your own processional. You can't do it. Especially if you're the groom, you're already standing by the arbor. Like, what are you going to do? Shoot her fingers from across the way? Go ahead, Joe. Escort my mom.
Your turn.
That was officially voice number 1 of this episode.
I like it. Oh, yeah.
I think that a big difference between the venue coordinator and an actual day of coordinator is that they're there for the bride and the groom. They are there to make sure, we are there to make sure that the execution of your entire day is done to what you expected and intended it to be, and to just make sure that vendors are serving exactly what they promised and exactly what those clients paid for
Right.
when it comes to their wedding day. A venue coordinator is going to, be a resource to the vendors coming into the venue,
Where are the
showing
outlets?
them where the outlets.
Here's the mop.
Yep, where can I go to the bathroom? Where can I put my bags? Simple things like that and dealing with it in that way, but it's our job to really make sure that the vendors are doing the job that they
Right.
kind of promised and that they paid for, along with then serving the bride and the groom and the family to make sure that they get down the aisle, to gather people for photos, to set up personal decor, set up that escort card table.
Yeah. Isn't that silly? Like, most venues don't do that.
No,
And
not at
that's
all.
like, I feel like 100% forgotten all the time. Like, I'll be like, oh, and are you having escorts or place cards? And they're like, both. I'm like, so I will set those up for you, but I need to know about it.
Yeah, well,
it
that's-
takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, and that's a super good point because it is a level of detail that a independent professional day of coordinator can provide. So like we're the ones that will meet with you a couple months out from your wedding day and start asking you all the questions to help you figure out what you haven't
Thought of.
decided yet. You
Right,
don't know what
yeah.
you don't know. And so like how many chairs do you want reserved in the front row for your family, and in what order would you like them to sit, and would you like them labeled per person, or will they just know where to sit?
Right.
Or who's giving speeches and in what order, and about how long will they be
And
in?
where are they sitting?
And who specifically
whose microphone are they using?
Yeah, and who should never get the mic at all
Yes,
costs.
Uncle
like,
Tommy.
learning
Yeah,
everything
hands off.
that there is to know about the wedding day to help coordinate it in the way that feels really special.
Right.
to the couple
So,
and unique
and
to
I
them.
think sometimes brides and grooms, right? You don't know. And there's all these like buzzwords for SEO and like traffic, blah, blah, blah. So a lot of companies will say that they include a wedding planner in their services. DJs, I'm totally calling you out, that you'll say, we provide a wedding planner. And just be cautious, brides and grooms, because sometimes that only includes the part of the wedding that vendor is associated with, right? So the DJ will absolutely help you plan the music of your wedding and maybe toasts and grand march and cake cutting or bouquet toss if those things are being emceed. Will they help you with your hair and makeup timeline? I really don't fucking think so.
No.
Like, really, I'm being very serious if you're listening to this and you're like, well, my DJ said he like will help with the whole day. I don't think so.
Hair and makeup, bus transportation, vendor load-in, vendor setup, communication with all of the vendors. And that's venue coordinators. There's some that are just so fantastic and they are so supportive in that day overall, but they're not going to reach out to the hair and makeup. They're not going to reach out to maybe the dessert people or the bus drivers to say, hey, I want to make sure that, this gets here on time. This is the list of people that need to be on that bus. If there's any stragglers, here's a phone number you can call. Just those things of taking care of the humans that are a part of that whole experience.
Right. And if we're looking at it like in the plainest terms, your venue coordinator will do the venue. Your DJ will do the music. Your wedding planner or outside hired day of coordinator does the whole umbrella, like all of it, the overarching, like aside from deciding if Aunt Susan should sit at table 9 or table 6, like all of it, because we don't know Aunt Susan and if she's bickering with Aunt Jones. So don't know that. I don't know your family history. If you're my brother-in-law, when you get married, yes, I will do your table arrangement. But if you're a stranger and we've met 3 times, I cannot help you with that part. Advice.
Yeah.
Can't
and you bring up a really good point about like the venue coordinators for the venue, the DJs for the music. And that's why you hire specific vendors, is because they're really good at the job that they're responsible for. And it's not actually a good thing to expect someone to be everything for you that is hired specifically for one thing.
Right. You don't want your brain surgeon to also be really good at changing your tires. Like, you want them to just, like,
I mean, if they
please,
are, that's great.
but please just be good at brain surgery. Like, if you're all into scalps, that's great. But you don't also have to be into axles. Like, just one thing.
There needs to be one person that's not the bride or groom that ideally knows most of everything happening and can be that point person to answer questions or to be that kind of streamline to the bride and groom, so that you don't have 8 vendors asking the bride while she's getting her hair and makeup done.
Yeah, what about this?
What about this and this and this? And that's kind of, it's nice where the venue coordinator and the day of coordinator can kind of split that up in terms of like venue needs and client needs. And that's where day of coordinators come in. We focus on the client's needs and make sure that everything that we've talked about, that we laid out, is happening on time and that everyone else is doing a really good job.
Yes. So that begs a great point, though. Like, okay, so can't my sister just do it? She got married last summer. Can't my mom do it? My mom is really detail-oriented, and she's been at every single planning meeting, and she actually knows more than me. Can't she do it?
No.
No. I already knew the answer, by the way.
They're guests. Anybody that is supposed to be a guest, even your personal attendant who is a part of your wedding party, they're still supposed to be a guest. They're still supposed to enjoy the ceremony, enjoy a cocktail, get a meal at a table with their friends and family. That's not us. We're there to enjoy our job, but we're not there to enjoy the fruits of their labor. We're there to be a part of that. And I think one thing that I always say is, you're putting a lot of time and energy into this party. You need to enjoy it. You're hosting it. Let me do all the errands and let me take care of all the back, let me clean the dishes and refill people's, waters while you go and actually talk and enjoy with people.
And it's super stressful to be a wedding coordinator if you have never, ever, ever done it before.
Right.
Like, think about just being a bridesmaid, and you have to look really good and be supportive to all your friends that are there that day and
Bring
follow
the right
schedule.
shoes because I got changed last minute.
Do all that. And imagine if you were doing that and then also worrying about all the vendors coming and all of the trying to troubleshoot when something goes wrong.
Yep,
And
fielding questions.
that sort of thing. So, I mean, it's stressful enough being an important role in a wedding party or a close family member because you care so much. You want that day to go so well for your most favorite people. But then also it's thinking about having never, ever done it before. It's a really difficult job.
Right.
And it's tough. It's tough because, again, it's kind of the same thing. You don't know what you don't know. And so this personal attendant or friend of the couple or parent or something may not have the experience to know all of the questions to ask to learn all of the information that it takes to responsibly facilitate a wedding day.
There's a difference between the house mic and the mic the DJ has. Like, who cares? Let's just use one. Well, which one?
Yeah. And so it's better to have someone who knows what, knows the drill and can add value versus taking on a level of stress that they don't need to.
And we can manage that stress, and we're there to work our butts off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're there to
that's our job. We like it.
Yeah. I actually really love it.
Love it.
That's why I do
It's not torture.
No.
It's fun.
Really,
it's a
really
good
fun.
high.
Yeah.
I think it's a great
It's
high.
cool. Yeah.
Like if you see me at a wedding, I'm like, it's the best one ever. Everyone get
best.
married again.
Yeah.
You're amazing. Do you want to get married next year too? I'll totally do it again with you.
But you'll still pay me.
Yeah.
So that like really begs a great point is that the emotional piece of it, because I am not related to you, you're not my sister because I don't have sisters, you're not my brother because I don't have brothers, like you're not my person. So I can take that like emotional stress of wanting everything to be perfect for you and kind of look at it from a different perspective that makes it a little more manageable, right? So this is like the worst example ever, so feel free to fast forward up like 15 seconds. But I also work in hospice, and the reason why it's so easy for me to be around people who die all the time is because it's not my dad, it's not my grandma, it's not my grandpa. So I can go in and do the appropriate job and do the work that I know needs to be done without having the weight of that heavy emotional piece, right? So obviously at a wedding, no one's going to die, and if they are, I have insurance, so that's great. But but the point is,
Does
happy,
your insurance
happy joy.
cover that?
One death, assumedly mine.
Yeah, I was gonna say it has to only
For my husband. At this point, my husband would be like, "Josie, shut up." But it's all happy and joyful, but there still is like this huge emotional weight that is associated with getting married, right? Getting married, moving, and death and divorce. Those are like the highest stressors for human beings. So if I cannot be a part of that like anticipatory stress group, then I can do a better job. So if your mom or your sister is doing it, guess what? They're part of that group that is like freaking out. Either they're excited beyond all means for you, or they are anxious beyond all means that something will go wrong, and then that'll set you off and you'll turn bridezilla and shave your head. They're just very concerned.
But in that respect too, is we're kind of that shield between the bride and the family and the vendors,
Right.
And sometimes people do act irrationally, or they say something because they are anxious, they are nervous,
or they're
they want
hangry.
everything, or they're hangry for sure. So to just kind of be a shield, and if a caterer isn't serving food fast enough, I'd rather be the one to go up and like tell them to hurry it up versus an angry uncle storming at them and having to do that, or even the bride and groom. And if the bride and groom need another cocktail or they need more dressing on their salad, like let me take care of that for you, versus you having to do that work and to just kind of manage those little fires that aren't really big fires, but they can seem like it.
Or
in
they
those
can
moments.
like tumble out of control. In my mind, I'm picturing like the both of us at a wedding, and like the bride's like, I kind of would like another glass of champagne, and you're like, I'll do it, and I'm like, no, let me do it. You're like, no, let me do it. No, let me do it. I feel like we should have this moment.
Yeah. We were all together at a wedding
Life
once.
goals. Yeah, except for
Oh, yeah,
for real,
we
Laine
were.
couldn't be the one to do it.
Also, okay, we're talking about emotion of the day and how it can be what did you say? Call it the stress group or something?
Yeah, what did I say?
I don't know. But okay,
I blacked out.
Yeah. So a couple things on that too. So in addition to what Laine was talking to, a wedding coordinator can be a person that can also be a calming presence.
Right.
Because oftentimes if something is either going slightly off plan or maybe just appears that it is,
Yep.
Yeah.
we can be there to identify what's going wrong. Sometimes nothing is going wrong
Nothing.
and it's just
Perspective.
Sometimes it's a very simple fix and, you know, maybe just someone needs a little bit of extra help to get something to happen or a reminder. And so we can do that in a calming way and just let the family know, hey, I got it. Don't worry about it. I'll go take care of it right away. But then also, okay, this is what I really meant to talk about is the positive aspect of emotion through the day. So when your close family members, your mom, your sister, whoever is not your coordinator, that frees them up to be completely present with you throughout the day for those moments of putting on the dress or the suit or having a first look with a parent before you go off to your first look with your partner or being just around during the whole hair and makeup part of the morning versus at the venue setting up, anything like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point is you want the day to be calm, relaxed, and you want to have fun. And you don't want people coming up and being like, oh my gosh, so you forgot to open the card and read it from your husband to be, and we forgot the videographer's over there, and now we can't capture it because they're already moved on, and you won't get that. And it's like, okay, but we can do that anytime. Like, no big deal. And when you've done a million weddings, like we have, then you know, like, things are not, pretty much nothing's a big deal.
No.
Nothing's a big deal. The biggest deal is that you get to marry the person that you want to marry. That's the biggest deal. And it's not a bad deal, right?
Right.
Well, for 50% of
Sometimes.
the American
50%.
population
Oh my
that get
gosh.
divorced, it is.
You shouldn't
But
say
you don't know that yet.
But that's my motto. And if ever a mom is like wringing her hands and she's like, well, what about this? What about this? And I will look moms in the eye and just say, Mama, if I'm not freaking out, you don't need to freak out.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to freak out because everything's going to happen.
Everything's good.
Everything is good. And that, you know, and just to touch base on that is we had Bree as our coordinator because my, you know, parents want to be involved and that's wonderful. But on the day of the wedding, I just want them to chill out. And it was nice to be able to look all of the parents in the eye and say, you just get to enjoy this day.
Right.
You get to hang out, sip a coffee, hang out in the hotel room. Be ready by this time. We'll
Right.
see you there.
Don't
Like,
worry about
everything
ice.
will be
Don't
done.
worry about decor. Don't worry
Dad
about
pick up the
this.
beers and bring the copper frames. But other than that, everyone else can hang out.
Bring yourself and be dressed.
Yeah, because it's
Nudity's not allowed
they're very no.
in this culture that we live in. But others, we don't know.
We don't know.
I think that all of that's great. So that's a long answer of, do I really need a wedding planner, basically?
Wow, we really went into that.
We did.
That wasn't that question one on the list.
And that's just the day of, right? So
Yeah.
let's just talk about what it looks like before the day of and how, you know, a hired wedding planner can help with planning the portion of your day, but then how the other vendors kind of come into play and what they bring to the table. I think you're catching my drift. The listeners are like, stop talking and let them answer.
I think I get what you're saying. Do you mean more as a full service wedding planner or as a
Just like
day of coordinator but prior to the wedding day?
Yes.
Yes to both?
Okay. So I think one of the benefits to having whether a coordinator or a planner is they've done a million weddings before. They've worked with specific vendors. They know what works and doesn't work in certain venues. And if they haven't been to that venue, they'll do their due diligence and they'll go tour it and they'll research it and talk to the people there to have an understanding of what works and what doesn't.
Right.
And people come into weddings with planning with grandiose ideas of what they can accomplish within specific budgets. We're here to kind of give you a dose of reality, unfortunately. because Pinterest is a little deceiving sometimes.
There's no price tags on Pinterest.
There's no price tags
for
on
wedding
Pinterest,
stuff.
and
I look all the time. I'm like, so this arbor, how much is this? Oh, no price tag. Oh, when I click on the link, it doesn't go to a price tag. Awesome.
So it's our job to kind of educate you on what weddings look like, how we can personalize it, what does a day of timeline look like, and how do all of the vendors come into play in that? How long do you need a photographer for if you want to capture all of these moments, and how long, do you want different music for your ceremony versus reception? Then let's look at 2 different types of vendors for this. So budget, timeline, rentals are huge because a lot of places you do have to figure that out.
Right.
What are the companies that exist in your area that can accomplish these things with that design piece in mind? And what are the vendors that I think you'll get along really well with?
And budget.
And there's just so many details in a wedding day that a lot of people don't think about. And as they understandable.
Why would they?
Yeah, why would they? So it's...
Oh, this is your first wedding? You're not an expert at planning weddings?
Yeah. Like, a room flip takes this amount of time, and if you want photos of it, we're going to have to give you that room flip more time
Ooh, good
so
one.
you can get photos and video of that. So I know you don't want to have an hour and a half cocktail hour, but you might have to if you want that room flip, and you're going to have to feed people during that time so that people don't get too drunk and that they're nice. And then, just the whole movement of the day. We're logistical by heart, and just kind of figure out what is the movement of it. How do you get the bride and groom from one place to be at the same place? How do you get family there, vendors there? What restrictions does the venue have? 3. That was a long one, I'm sorry.
Well, I like that you brought up logistics because I love logistics so much. And so much.
Who, what, where, how, when.
All of it. And it's so exciting to me. So in the day of coordination planning mindset, when I meet with the couples I'm working with a couple months out from their wedding date, and by then I've gotten some sense of what they have planned because they've sent me some info, but when they show me who's coming and what they want to have happen throughout the day, and then I immediately see, I'm going to have to make this work.
Yeah. Instead of it all being already put together, which is totally okay because that's my job and I like it, but...
like a little example, like we're having flowers put on our cake. Oh, but your cake is not arriving anytime near when the florist is here.
Yeah.
So am I putting cake flowers on, or can we have the florist come later? No, because we have the boutonnieres that need to go on for the picture, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, or like another big one would be the tables are here and the florist is here, but where are the linens?
Yes.
Yep.
That's something you figure out way in advance. But even more so than that with timing. Sometimes, a lot of couples I work with, they get really excited about wanting the experience for their guests to be super smooth and just flow through, and there never to be any waiting, or oftentimes they're prioritizing that it's super fun and that it's a great, awesome party. And so then we take the logistical pieces of how long it takes to serve dinner and how long it takes to serve dessert, and they want to have a receiving line at some point and do 16 speeches and all of the things that add a ton of time, and then often sometimes waiting for their guests. We do all the work together to make that actually turn into the event that they imagined they were planning all along, because sometimes logistics are just the key.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that time between the transition of cocktail hour to honestly speeches and first dances, there's a lot happening in that one, in that hour to 2 hours, and to have like a director to be there to be like, okay, now you go.
And fielding questions. Along. Like, I can't remember, does this tall arrangement go on table 9 or table 6? What? Table 6. Okay, great.
So just kind of that being there for that, and being that logistical king or queen.
Totally.
And nerding out and be like, all right, I got this.
Yeah. Yeah. Because brides and grooms, so you guys are planning like the best day of your entire life. You don't also want to be that, is it called a minstrel? Orchestrating?
No, maestro.
Oh,
right?
Minstrel.
Minstrel
no, with an
is
I.
like a wandering singer, I think. Right? A
Maestro.
maestro is
Okay.
maestro.
Okay, so we all learned a lesson today.
And
I think.
my experience is that MCs, DJs, bands, they're not doing that for you.
They do weird things, all of them.
They will play the right song when you tell them to play the right
Yep.
song, but someone has to cue them to be like, all right, this is the next moment that's going to happen. Ready, go.
Sometimes they're timid.
Yeah.
Like, you have to hand the microphone to the person giving the speech. You have to do that because they won't just come up to the table and be like, where's my microphone? I'm ready. I'm really excited to talk in front of a bunch of people, maybe 300, because I do
Go
that
get
all
me
the
another
time.
drink.
Yeah. You have to
Before I
hand it
take
to them
that.
and be like, you're going to do great.
Yeah.
Start talking.
And they'd be like, good job. Good job.
And then take the microphone away from them.
Moving on to the next
So
person.
Uncle Tommy doesn't snake it.
Uh-huh.
I have a funny story about Timothy.
No, you don't.
Oh, man. Okay, so let's kind of backtrack a little bit. And we kind of mentioned, I'm not picking on DJs, but I totally am. Let's talk about, each individual vendor. Okay, so let's say my venue is a country club and it includes a wedding coordinator. What will they do? So let's just brainstorm together. Most likely, they will unlock the doors, turn on the lights,
Adjust heating and cooling.
make sure there's toilet paper.
Likely they provide furniture, so they
Tables and chairs will be set.
Yep.
With linen. If it's a country club, they're
It's a
doing
country
catering.
club. They're doing catering, so they've managed majority of the tablescape.
Yes.
Yep, floor plan.
Yes. There'll be waters at
Yep.
the table, so you don't need a water station.
Mm-hmm.
Anything
They probably
else?
have getting ready rooms that they can provide.
Security guard
Yep.
on site
Ideally, they're maybe providing lunch, champagne.
that you have to purchase through them.
But you have to.
Sometimes
So-
they'll help lock up the gifts after they've arrived.
True.
Yep.
Are you
Yep.
thinking about Golden Valley? I am. So yes.
Well,
Not anything
ideally
else,
they're
but-
doing the bar menu. They're doing the food menu.
Yep.
So they're taking
Chunk.
care of a good chunk. And within those teams, they have a bar manager, they have a catering manager, which is nice because what that allows you to do is you're not having an outside vendor coming in, so you don't have to worry as much because it's their
Right.
venue. They're very familiar with it. So then it's your job to then focus on the bride and the groom, to focus on when the photographer gets there,
Right.
the dessert, the florist, when those vendors come in, and then they're doing the setup as they need to and getting the shots that they need to, transportation.
Right. Okay, so that's a venue coordinator. Just my example was at a country club.
Mhm.
Okay, let's talk about what about the wedding planner, online wedding planner that a DJ has? Like, what is that?
That's a form.
Mm-hmm.
In most cases, it's an online form that they send you to provide the information to them that they need to play the music at your wedding. So it has lots of questions about the musical style you like,
Yep.
questions about what time they have to be there, what specific songs you've chosen for special moments like first dances or ceremony processional, recessional, grand entrance.
Mm-hmm.
Often it asks for pronunciation and names for
that.
your grand entrance. Do not play songs.
Yes, if you don't want Soul Train.
Do you
That's
want
my
the chicken
wedding
dance
on
or no
Friday.
chicken dance? Cha-cha slide, yes or no?
And guess what? Millennials are like, what is
Yeah, what is
the
that?
chicken dance?
Really?
Yes, the DJ
Yeah.
told me that, and I wanted to cry.
That's okay. It's not a bad thing to phase that out.
It's
of
not the best
weddings.
Like,
Dance.
sorry, 4th grade roller rink birthday party.
I know. Oh, I know. Those were good days.
Those were the days, man. Okay, and then, like, let's say, and maybe this is not, maybe we're not the best people to answer this, but do you know if the DJ is like, oh, we include a wedding planner, though, in our package? Do you guys
As a person?
I think so, right?
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
And so then that would be, like, that's okay.
So that depends too. And again, the best thing you can do is ask for more details on specifically what that person does. Sometimes that person is an assistant to the DJ on the wedding day.
And they're
Right.
bringing in equipment.
Yep. Maybe it's helping set up equipment. Maybe it's being someone to be out and about, bringing the microphone to the people that need it at the right time. So then the DJ can stay right at the booth and manage the sound levels.
Yep.
Sometimes it would be,
I don't
gosh,
know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't.
Maybe they help line up the grand entrance sometimes.
Oh, yes. Yes.
The things, so oftentimes an assistant to the DJ would do the things that a planner would do if a planner wasn't there.
Surrounding the DJ's
Yes.
job.
Yes. Good clarification.
Yes. Like, did you say, like, snagging the couple and be like, okay, it's time to cut your cake. So setting them in place with the cake server and knife and an extra plate and 2 forks, and then the photographer, videographer, and then saying, okay, now we're ready.
Not that.
Not that. Oh.
No, it
Well,
would
you
be
need someone for
like,
that.
it would be more so, it's time to do the cake cutting. We have the song queued up.
Yeah.
Oh.
You tell me when you're,
And
tell
then
me
you
when you're
cut the
ready.
cake, and then you're like, where do we put it? In our hands, because there's no plate.
Yeah. Although there are some there are some companies that are more of a collaborative group that staff with DJs, planners, sometimes even photographers and videographers, where then you can select multiple services from the same company.
Yeah, so don't
which-
forget the wedding planner one.
Yeah. So in that case, it may be a wedding
sure.
planner, like
Right.
a real day of coordinator. I shouldn't say real, but
I know.
we're all real.
We don't know how to say. Yeah,
'Cause
because it makes the definition a little bit convoluted or watered down if everyone's saying, well, I'm a wedding planner. I'm a wedding planner. Okay, but do you really plan the whole wedding?
Yeah.
Do you really
Are you there from
know what that means?
8 a.m. till midnight?
Quick,
Yeah.
tell me. How do you menu fold a napkin?
Yeah.
Quick, tell me.
Yeah.
What order is a processional? Okay, so what about if a bride and or a groom is saying, well, my photographer is creating a timeline for the day of, so like what else do I really need? Like at least I'll have the timeline and then it'll just happen, right?
So personally, I actually always, when I create a full timeline, which the start time of that timeline is usually 8 a.m. to literally 1 a.m. The photographer I always start with to understand what
Their
how they
needs are.
shoot, because some photographers need more time, less time. Some can take 15 minutes for family photos, 15 minutes for bride and groom, whatever that
Some
looks
are 3
like.
hours.
Some are 3 hours, whatever floats your boat. So our job is to kind of fill in those gaps, because what's nice is if you have a photographer that does have a timeline, they show that they're organized, then you can trust the photographer to take the bride and groom and
And I don't
wedding
need to
party.
be there being like, hey, it's actually been 8 hours
Yep.
and we're still on getting ready photos.
And I don't need to be there, and I can go do
Right,
reception
the
setup. I
things.
can do ceremony setup. I can work with the vendors and not be pulled away from, be pulled away from that, because it's not my job to take pictures. In an ideal world, I don't need to be there while photos are being taken, because
Right.
this person knows what they're
They're in
doing.
charge.
Yeah, they have an assistant.
They're professional.
Yep. So that timeline's great, but it's not going to detail stuff out. It's also they're not going to work alongside the caterers to understand, even though you say dinner starts at this time, the caterer is actually the one who does the making of the food. So we have to work, talk to them about what's reasonable to feed 250 people. What does that timeline look like?
Yes.
Is it a course meal, family meal?
Yes.
How does that look like? How do we detail that out?
And let's go off track a little bit and say that for catering, if you all of a sudden are like, oh, we're 40 minutes early, can dinner be out early? Probably not. Like, unless you are doing Jimmy John's and it's individual orders from 8 different locations, it's not going
Timelines-
to be freaky fast.
It's not going to happen.
Timelines are very important in a wedding day, and in order to communicate with upwards of sometimes 20 people, and then that catering team has 20 people, and the bartending team has 5 or 6 people, everyone's looking at that timeline for their day. And so, for their roles, are like, all right, salads are set at 6:15, speeches at 6:30, entrees served at 7 o'clock, and this is the flow of events.
Right.
And those need to all be taken into consideration, so that the DJ knows when to play certain music, and the venue knows when the uplights go on, and things like that. There's just so many moving parts.
And you're talking about, like, in your mind, you're picturing like a wedding, maybe like 220, and it's like a course meal.
Or it's just
for our
salads and
listeners.
entrees.
Yeah.
So it's a plated meal. But even, sometimes people will do family style, but then certain dishes need to come out really warm, and some people, some need to come out cold. However that looks like, caterers have to time everything perfectly, and depending on their kitchen, they're limited in space a lot of times, and they're working from their truck or
Right. We can't just set out 200 plates of food on what counter?
I know.
Like where? Where would we set it out?
Yep.
This is a great question, Josie. Move on. Okay, so the photographer timeline is really going to be like about the shooting schedule, and that will be worked into the timeline that your wedding planner creates. Okay, so you had brought up personal attendant. Honestly, can't my personal attendant just be my bitch and do all the work?
No.
But she said she's willing to do anything for me.
And
she's going to wear pants and sneakers.
He or she loves you and will do anything for you, but you love them too, and you shouldn't ask them to take on more than they really can handle.
Yeah.
What are some tasks that you guys that I think are appropriate for personal attendants to do?
Steaming dresses.
Yeah.
Um,
I think passing out tips.
Passing tips.
I like that for a personal attendant.
I don't.
Huh.
I don't, because I think it needs to happen at the end of the night. And I
Yeah.
think the personal attendant, honestly, once reception starts, any guest that was given a responsibility is kind of
Out
off
the
duty.
window.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's
And
a good point.
We don't go off duty. Maybe
No.
we take a pee break, or we scarf down some
Hopefully.
food. Yeah, hopefully. Or we go outside and take a breather while everyone's dancing.
Like not a smoke break,
No,
just literally
Just
breathing.
literally go feel some
roll
some
on
air.
your essential oil and hey everyone, I'm back.
Drinking water, several 1-minute water breaks throughout the day.
But the personal
30
attendant
second.
can steam dresses,
Fluff.
can
Fluff for pictures.
fluff, can help, fluff for pictures. Make sure the bride is drinking water and eating. If someone needs to go pick up some food for lunch for everyone, that's a really good role for them to have. And then just, fluffing dresses, bustling the dress after the ceremony, taking, after the ceremony or after pictures, getting that bouquet back in water for the bride and the bridesmaids.
Yep. Going along on the pictures, like you said, to make sure the dress is always looking good, the veil is always looking good, or the suit or whatever it may be, and holding the bouquet during photos when it's not in the photo that's happening.
Because that
I love
personal
that.
attendant is most likely in those photos too.
Right.
She's still part of, he or she is still
still
part
important.
of the wedding party. And they still, they still want to have some of those luxuries of being part of that important group of people on the day.
Right. Totally agree. Okay, cool. So personal attendant cannot be your day of coordinator, but they can have small important roles. What do couples that you guys work with usually say after hiring you and after having worked with you? Like, what are some selling points? Sell
They
yourself.
say, this is the best money I spent on my
Yeah.
entire wedding.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? Probably the bar and the food, the officiant. But they always say, this is the best investment I made in the whole day.
And it's not the most expensive
Right.
by a long shot.
Yeah.
I
By a
think my
long
favorite
shot.
part is when a groom who wasn't really involved too much up front,
Yeah.
but then kind of understands what pressure we took off and kind of what was happened. I think it's very rewarding when the bride's super happy. So rewarding. But then when a groom who just hasn't been involved is like, you are the best money we spent. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Or I had a bride say that aside from the groom, you're the most important person at our wedding.
Oh my gosh.
That's really great.
Yes.
That's so sweet.
And the mom, just to a mom to be like, thank you so much for being here. You made this day
Yeah.
so enjoyable for
dads.
everyone. Yeah.
Because dads have like a kind of like wallflower perspective, right? They're like kind of back here. They want to make sure no one's like blowing the budget or like being insane. But
Yeah.
otherwise, they're very like, okay, this is what's happening. I can see all of this.
I had a meeting the other day with a whole family, and the bride hadn't gotten there yet, and the dad just sits down. He goes, now, what do you do? And I was like, I get it. So I kind of went through
Yeah.
everything. He's like, oh, okay, so you're more than just the day of coordinator. I was like, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
We offer a lot. I was like, I'm here to make your life easier. And he's like, perfect.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Here's your balance.
So my
in
goal is
full.
to just if I can get a hug from him at the end of the night,
Yes.
that would be so
Even if
wonderful.
it's a side hug, that's
I don't
fine.
even care.
I'll
Or
take the
pat-
side hug.
Pat on the back and just
Great
thanks.
job.
Yeah.
And you're like, thanks.
Yeah.
I hear from couples they say, we had no idea how much you were going to do for us.
Yeah.
Right.
We do our best to explain what our package includes and all the possible things we could help them with. But at the end of the day, they'll say, or afterwards, they'll say, wow, that was a lot.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Or you're still here.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, your wedding's not over, is it? He's like, take a break. You've been working hard.
Thanks. Can I have the rest of your beer?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a JMO. I'll take that too.
I'll take that too.
Okay, so when should our listeners hire a wedding planner? Or if they're like, nope, I can do the planning. I just want someone to say either my ideas are crazy or my ideas are possible. When should they hire a day of coordinator?
I mean, I think as soon as you book a venue and you book a date,
Yep.
because I will tell, like, as I meet couples from a year out, they haven't booked a lot of people, and a really big process is vetting vendors. And if I
Right.
can even just say, what are you looking for? Vetting vendors, or not vetting, but I guess sending over vendor information I'm not going to charge you for that. That's a part of me being helpful to you.
Right.
And you just kind of having that knowledge, and me just kind of being someone you can quick send an email to that says, hey, I'm thinking about this. And I've had some brides actually take advantage of it in a really good, healthy way.
Right.
That's like, thanks for reaching out and asking about this, because this could have been a little confusing for you.
Right.
So-
Or if they've already booked someone, I'm thinking of a specific example. They've already booked someone and you look at it and you're like, no.
Yeah.
Like, your caterer doesn't provide plates. Like, this
Yeah.
is an issue.
Yeah. Or if, this is a great option, but now you're going to have to think about, do you need to rent this, or are you going to do this?
Right.
And then hopefully, I think having us booked ahead in advance kind of gives you and your family a peace of mind that, just as you go through the whole process, there is someone supporting you that knows everything, not everything, that can help you.
Everything from the millions of weddings.
Because there's,
Knows
all
everything.
vendors can
Millions.
give advice all the time, but I think we just have a really good
Well-rounded
vision.
knowledge, right?
Mhm.
So instead of being like, oh, I'm only a brain surgeon, it's like, no, I'm a general practitioner. I know everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I
The sooner you book, the sooner you can start asking for advice.
right? Yes.
And if you book with us, with me,
Yeah.
you get access to Aisle Planner, which is just a whole
yes.
program for you to go in and, we can start figuring out your timeline. It's a big checklist. It's got, you can put all your contact information in there, your
Notes.
guest list, your notes.
Design
and-
studio.
Yeah, design studio. It just it's everything in one, and I can see it. I can see
Mm-hmm.
your progress.
Right.
I'll go in and, in the morning, and someone was up late at night, and I have 64, messages that just are people basically completing
Doing
things.
things.
And so it's like, okay, I know you're on a really good track. And I can kind of check in. You can check in with messaging through Aisle Planner. And then they just added a new feature to where you can message your guests.
Right. Oh, with that tracking RSVPs, and I
Yep.
love this.
Versus like texting
Yes.
people, you can just send them,
Yes.
if you have their emails in there, you can send them a message through Aisle Planner to have them RSVP.
Yes, because I think it's so you would write on your RSVP like go to this website,
Mhm.
and then they go to it, and as part of their yes or no and how many people and what meal choice, they would put their email.
Mhm.
So then it collects it, and then
Mhm.
and then you can be like, hey, we just added a second bus for the shuttle. Please let me
Yep.
know if you need transportation so you can have a great time at our wedding.
Or here's a last minute
Yeah.
change in our overall schedule. Because
Yeah, I love
people, we have, wedding websites are really fantastic, but sometimes guests lose the URL and they don't remember it. And so, they might not see that change in the ceremony time, or, some
Or that
important
it's
stuff.
raining and we don't have a tent, so we can't get married
Yeah.
outside, and now
Yeah.
it's going to be at this different location. I don't suggest getting married without a tent outside, but
Or a plan B. Yeah.
that's episode 21.
Is it
really? Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, Aisle Planner is a sponsor of this podcast, so of course all of my listeners love them
Yeah.
and already have their free account,
Yeah.
which then if you hire Laine, Bree, or myself, then you can just add us to it and we're connected.
Perfect.
Okay, so hire a wedding planner as soon as you hire or get your venue, or if you need help finding a venue, hire a wedding planner. Same with day of coordinator. Don't wait till last minute. I think that brides and grooms are thinking like, oh, I don't really need help. I don't need help. And then they go through a month of like stress and horrible life. And they're like, I need help. Yeah. And if you're waiting till 2 months before your wedding, guess what? You're probably not going to find a day of coordinator that is worth hiring.
It depends. I mean, there's a lot of us out there.
Yeah.
But your choice diminishes just like every other vendor you choose, because so especially if it's one person, they get booked and then they're booked. There's only so many days in the year available. Right. So,
and I think maybe a bride or groom might argue like, well, shouldn't I just hire all of my other vendors first and then see what they provide before I would hire a day of coordinator or wedding planner? Question mark.
No. No, because I think you're hiring those vendors to be really good at the job that they do, and a day of coordinator is a different job,
separate task.
Yeah,
and we focus just on that, and that's we do that for all of our weddings the entire year, and that's our focus. And we have a process, and we kind of we learn as we go, and working at the same venue but different floor plan setup or different overall style of wedding. And you can just kind of give better and better advice as you have that experience that is
tried, true, and tested.
And I also want to say, so when I look at a wedding day, I see myself as a part of a team of all the vendors that are there that day. So there's so many roles that come together to put together an awesome wedding day, and a day of coordinator is one of them. And oftentimes having a coordinator can help everyone else do their job better, so much better, because then your photographer doesn't have to step away from the camera and taking photos to coordinate the start of something, to make sure they get it before they have to leave, like first dances or speeches. Or your caterer can focus on serving the food and getting it out as quickly as they can so it's hot and delicious, versus trying to get your grand entrance going so they can actually start dinner.
Right.
Or, I mean, there's so many things a coordinator can take off the plates of everybody else so that the day can run really smoothly and everyone is actually better at their jobs and happier.
So much happier.
Yeah.
Yes. And how don't you want people to be happy on your wedding day?
Not especially, but including your vendors.
This isn't Snow White, right? You don't want like 12 grumpy men.
There's only one
not all
one.
grumpy. There's only one called grumpy.
I have a different childhood memory.
Were you scared of yours?
I think they were all grumpy in my mind. But now that you're saying that, I guess you're right.
Rewatch
Sorry,
it.
Disney.
Yeah. Watch it again.
I feel like those old Disney movies kind of hurt my eyes to watch. Like I was watching Aladdin and I was like, ow. Like, yeah, or like you can see the separate animators from the early 90s.
Yeah, technology.
Yeah, you can like see and then next page and next page.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but it's kind of cool. It's cool to see that process. Anyways, we're totally
well, so I love Disney movies.
Yeah.
I would sing right now, but no one wants me to.
I do. I want you to.
Prince Ali, Ali, Abi, Ali, Ababa.
First CD I ever owned. The best, greatest CD I've ever.
Was Aladdin?
Aladdin
really?
and then Lion King. Ugh, yes.
That was your first CD?
Yeah, it was so good.
Mine was Sophie B. Hawkins. Does anyone remember her?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Well, look it up.
I used to say it was TLC, but it was totally not TLC because I was.
That was on cassette tape.
That was on cassette tape.
That was cassette tape.
That's true.
I don't know what my first CD was. How do you know this?
I have this conversation all the time, especially with my husband. We talk about it.
What movies?
Movies
you've
and
had?
music.
Well, I think we should wrap up, at least for you Apple Podcast listeners. And I end every episode with a high five. So thank you for coming on.
Hiya. Thanks for having us.
But still for YouTube. Do you want to tell me anything about your lives that's interesting?
Oh, goodness gracious.
I don't.
Weddings? Any weddings you're particularly excited for?
All of them.
All of them. Yeah. I mean, okay, so this weekend is officially the start of wedding season for me. So I've had a few weddings earlier in the year, but this is the point where
it's going to be bananas.
Moving. Yeah, and so I'm just super thrilled to be back in it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been thinking a little bit about just wedding season in general, and obviously we do a lot of the sales and the
Business
paperwork and the
part.
business part of it. But then just like getting excited about that, being
Yes.
in there and that excitement.
It's such a high.
Yeah, it is.
I freaking.
It's so weird.
And everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, you're like moving around." I'm like, "I know, I'm like doing
I'm
stuff."
amazing.
And then the next day, I'm like, I feel like so hungover. Like the back of my knees hurt,
It's
my calves
crazy.
are
Yeah,
throbbing.
it's
I'm like,
crazy
"What
what
did
your
I do
body-
yesterday?"
What are you two doing for shoes this year?
Oh,
Like,
I
are
don't know
you
yet.
gonna do like tennis shoes and then change?
I never do that.
You never.
I
do
never
that?
change. I wear the
Oh.
same soaked armpit shirt. I have a jumpsuit.
I know you do.
What about shoes though?
Okay, but
Yeah.
shoes, my husband and I spent 10 hours at Mall of America last weekend.
Ugh.
It was our date day. It was like
Wow.
a blast.
Nice.
So like you did things besides just shop. You like experienced and ate and
A lot of people watching, let's
Yeah,
be
the
honest.
best.
A lot of like, oh my gosh,
it's kind of a good day.
look how many ethnic people are here. And
Wow.
there was a lot of tall people, like a
Yeah.
lot of tall people. And my husband's 6'2", so he would like, gracefully walk past someone so we could gauge how tall they were. And we'd be like, oh, that person's like 7 feet tall. They're so tall. A lot of tall people. Anyways, but I got, it's my new thing. I just buy little boy shoes, which makes me sound kind of like a perv, but
What size are you?
size 6.
Oh, that's right.
Size 5, actually. I think I'm a
Wow.
size 5
I do
small
remember that.
boys shoes. So I got 2 pairs. One are like boat shoes and one are like cute little, like, they kind of look like Keds, but they're not. Little tie up fancy,
Yeah.
like little dapper little boy shoes, but they like fit me and
Wow.
they feel right. They were like
I like-
$10 and
Bree's
$15.
I like the way you
so
say that.
Dapper. Have
I
you ever
do
have you-
tennis shoes during the
Yeah.
day and then I change
Yeah.
into some form of dressier shoes. I have experimented with so many different varieties.
Have you gotten
No.
those teaks?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. I got to place an order.
What are the teaks?
You know that anytime you go on Pinterest and it's like inundated with teaks.
That's probably just your board.
Oh, I've gotten recommendations for Allbirds, which are tennis shoes.
Yep.
Allbirds,
Did you put that-
Allbirds wool runners.
On the Facebook?
Yeah, those are nice.
And
Yeah,
you have
she did.
some?
No, but I've read a lot of reviews
Okay.
and they look nice.
And then someone recommended Rothy's flats, which are the,
Yeah, but-
the ad where it looks like it's sewn perfectly to your foot, but
Jamie said they're really uncomfortable.
okay.
And I think one thing that I worry about is anything that's super flat.
Yeah.
There's one of the reasons why your body hurts is because you have nothing to take in that impact of your feet
Yes,
on the floor. And if you
but-
have like a tennis shoe, it's a little softer. So then your calves, because it's a weird like all over body
Hungover.
hangover.
Yeah.
And like
Serious.
my legs
I'm
are
like,
just,
drank no alcohol.
I know.
I could. It's not in my contract that I won't. But
Chug
I
water.
feel wasty-facedy. I feel like a skeleton.
Yeah.
Except for, have you read that book, Born to Run?
No.
He talks about how your foot is supposed to have the musculature that it wouldn't need padding and stuff like that.
That's why
and you're
people wear
supposed to
those
spring
weird-
down.
Yeah.
I have Vibrams.
Are those
See,
the
my feet just get sweaty.
shoes
in
with
those.
toes?
Yep.
Yeah, my brother has those.
I know. That's the other thing is.
My feet just get super sweaty, and I
Yes.
can't wear the no-show socks because then the heel
Slip
falls
down.
off, and then it's just annoying.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But then if I don't wear
Same.
any socks, then my feet
Then
stink.
people pass out when you take off.
Okay.
Your shoes.
I can get into stinky feet right now if you want to.
Do it.
This is fun.
Little voice in my ear. Okay, so I also have struggled with that because if you wear shoes
Yes.
for 13 to 14
Right.
hours,
Yes.
it's gonna
My feet are
stink.
gonna stink.
So what I do is I got the Dr. Scholl's
Yeah.
foot spray.
Oh,
I spray that on my feet and on the inside of my socks. I got
Yes.
some little no-show socks that have
Yes,
a grippy pad on the
grippy.
back, so they stay.
oh yeah.
And then, so inside the socks on there, I also bring a second pair of socks.
Second pair. That's a good idea.
So then when I change from my first set of shoes to my second set of shoes,
Oh.
It's
Do
a
you
fresh
wash
pair
your
of
feet in the
socks.
bathroom sink in between? Is that weird?
no.
That'd be
I've
weird.
done that once or twice before, but I don't make a habit of it.
It's not a rule.
It's not a rule.
But
I
when you
think
get
that was
home.
like post. Yeah, as soon as I get home, I wash my feet right away. This is gross. But
That's true,
True
life.
life. right?
That's true life.
Yeah.
I use the Dr. Scholl's insoles so that I have because
Yeah.
I would wear little booties, I guess,
Yeah.
and put insoles in there so that it wasn't as hard.
I gotta get some
My
insoles.
foot.
I've tried Dr. Scholl's memory foam shoes. They're okay. I've tried Crocs brand dress shoes.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Not
I saw
okay.
those. They're so cute, though.
No, they're not okay because they're all rubbery,
And then-
rubbery jelly material, and so
Scrape,
gross.
scrape.
it scrapes or it
Yeah.
stretches, or they're
That's
good
the
for
other
a couple
issue-
hours. But
That's
that's
the other issue with any flats is like, what will it or will it not fuck up your heel?
Yeah.
That's why I'm so nervous to buy. That's why I would like do tennis shoes or something with a different type of
Yes.
back, because
We
it's
should
like,
start a movement that's like wedding planners are allowed to wear ugly shoes.
I know I have a hard time with that. I refuse to wear ugly shoes, but if it's
I can't wear heels.
I don't wear heels.
anything
I
with
see
a
people
heel.
changing to heels. I'm like, oh my god.
I'm
wear, like,
still
a
wear a little
learning
wedge.
stuff.
a little
Yeah,
wedge,
I'll wear a little wedge, yeah,
or
or a
like
little
a
booty.
tiny heel maybe. But
I wear these wellies if it's at a barn venue and it's raining.
oh,
See,
yeah.
barn venues are different, but if it's like an Aria or a machine shop or like,
You don't want to just tromp in with your.
like what do you do for Hope Glen? Rain boots?
I'm wearing sneaks unless the forecast is
Sneaks.
poor.
Mhm.
Yeah, and a jumpsuit. F that
Yeah.
noise.
I know.
I always feel pressure
Jumpsuit
to
is, like-
match the
and my
level of
fanny pack.
fanciness of everybody else.
Yeah.
Once guests get there, guests
Right.
get there,
Yeah,
I feel that I should.
I definitely feel less.
I like
somewhat
load up on
appropriate
deodorant
footwear.
and like wipe away my sweat. And I'm like, welcome.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, I
Make
haven't
sure
been working all day.
I've, like had a piece of gum or something.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just like grab a blazer and then like tank top it. It's so like not great underneath it, but that's okay. I just keep it closed and try not to vent. And then I feel like my fanny pack is like a
I don't like
pass.
it,
Like if
yeah.
I'm wearing the fanny pack, people are like, you can wear whatever you want because you've got the fanny pack. So
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
gotta figure out my fanny pack situation.
Secret
or bag
power.
situation.
yes,
What about snacks? You guys have like go-to
kind
snacks?
bar
Yeah.
and an apple.
Pro bar.
And
Yum,
I
Luna
brought a
bars.
LaCroix for like, because sometimes I forget to drink water.
Yeah.
Okay, all the time I forget to drink
I
water.
bring a water bottle and I try to drink 3 of them throughout the day. It doesn't always happen, but that's the goal.
Yeah.
At
Or-
least one has to be. I have to drink 1 full bottle of water before the ceremony.
Yeah.
I try and bring like one before.
Yes.
Yeah.
But where do you put it and then it gets lost because you're nowhere near where you put it. And you
That
can't remember.
happens.
Also, I started suggesting to my brides and grooms that they put the photographer at a table. So then the photographer can like capture things and will be
do.
present and gets a meal. And they just automatically put me at a table too. So
I don't want to be at a
then
table.
I'm sitting at a table and I get to drink as much water as I want because someone will refill the glass.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I don't want a table though. I like get up and down so much during dinner
Yeah.
that like I don't want to be
Yeah.
distracting. I
Right.
just go off to the corner or a different room and
Scarf.
scarf.
I
for
know.
sure.
I think I get so nervous I won't eat.
I've gotten really
Yeah.
fast at it.
Just so like
2 minutes.
I don't forget to eat.
I've
I
had
like
2
bring
bites.
snacks and then it's like, all right, it's I've still got an hour to the ceremony. I'm gonna quick like take a pee break, drink some water,
yeah.
eat a bar,
Yeah.
keep going. So I'm not like sometimes I'm just not even hungry by the time dinner comes around, but sometimes of course I am.
Yeah.
But I eat during dinner
Nervous
when everyone
eater.
else does.
I have a weird what's that called? Body dysmorphia or something. When I was younger, I didn't like people watching me eat,
Oh,
so I never ate lunch at school.
Oh,
maybe you could have some kind of
Weird.
liquid nutrition with you throughout the day, like a smoothie
Oh my gosh,
or
that's what I did when I was a kid.
Really?
Thanks, Mom. Yeah,
Oh,
those
yeah.
protein shakes.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's actually what I started doing is I have my bottle of water, and in order for me like to make sure I drink my water, I'll put a protein shake in here so that I'm just chugging it,
Yeah.
and then I get my water and I get my protein, and then I can just keep going.
Yeah.
And then that
cool.
way I'm like just focusing on
should do that.
hydrating.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Whole Foods actually has some really good ones that are also like protein and energy, and
Yeah.
they're vegetable based, gluten free.
What's that called?
It's a white package. I want to say it's white package. It's got light green and light blue. I haven't picked one up this year because I haven't needed it.
Light green.
So I'll go pick it
light
up.
blue.
Pick it up.
Hi, Whole Foods worker.
It's at a
I'm
store.
just
Just go
looking for a
into-
protein shake.
No.
That's
Go
in a
into
white bottle.
no. You know the aisle. Go into the aisle where they have all the endurance and
Yeah.
it's there.
And Kind bars. I like Kind bars. When we went on our trip and we were like hiking every day, we got the big box of Kind bars from Costco, and I was like, okay, like, you can't F around, Josie. You have to actually eat these. Like, tough tits if it doesn't taste good. You have to eat these. So every day I would have one, and I think it, like, forced me to like them because I was like, oh, I'm eating this every day. Now my body's like, nutrients, yum. We like it.
Oranges, apples, a bar. I feel like that's enough sometimes.
I mean, that's like 250 calories for your whole day, so probably not. But.
No, if you get a good bar. The Pro bars I have are 600 calories. So they're a meal. They're a meal. So that's my meal.
Okay, let me write that down.
Oh, the Pro Bar.
Yeah.
I also make sure I eat a really big breakfast and I carb up.
Yeah.
I will make rice and eat rice with eggs.
Mm.
And
Like
then
a
whatever else I throw in
Breakfast
there.
bowl. We probably should get to the level where we have like breakfasts before we go to our wedding. We like meet for breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
Breakfasts. I like that.
Breakfasts.
That's our time. That's our time to just like be by ourselves and to like
Don't invite
mentally
Laine or Bree.
prepare for
I'll have it with
the
other
day.
people.
I make a breakfast sandwich with my husband and then
Cute.
we watch something on TV to like not make the day seem as big as it is. Because then once I get into my car, then I'm like,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I like pump up the music when I'm like driving to a wedding. I'm like, yeah, someone's getting married today. Yeah, someone's getting married today. And then I pull up, turn it down. I'm like, walk out, look around. Nobody's there yet.
Oh, yeah.
Josie's
You're so
the first
pumped
one
up.
here. I'm like, oh.
Okay, I'm ready whenever somebody comes.
I'm going to go touch things.
Yeah.
can't get in the building yet, but I'm here.
Gonna touch things.
Yeah. That's good. Wow, you two we all have different routines. I get up 2 hours before I have to leave.
Yeah.
And I get totally ready. So like take a shower, curl the hair, do the makeup, find the clothes, whatever. Then I make a breakfast, and while I'm eating my breakfast, I sit down and review the timeline.
Yeah.
And I'm not really listening to music at all. It's a very calm morning, which is not a reflection of the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But it's just very calm. And then I'm driving there, and I'm just thinking about it, and I'll probably listen to NPR on the way. The news.
So obsessed with NPR in my adult life.
Sometimes they have
same.
Wait, Don't Tell Me on at the time when I'm driving to a wedding, and
you're like,
that.
score.
Yeah. But that's it. It's calm and quiet.
And that's why I like calm and quiet and just like I'll shower. Devin will make me breakfast.
Oh,
He'll make
you have
coffee.
someone to make you breakfast. That's nice.
Yeah.
See, if
My
you do
cats
breakfasts
don't
with me,
Do that for
I'll
me.
make you.
Someday.
You'll train them.
Yep.
That could be a thing. Remember Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and the dog like has is that it?
You see the blank
does
stare
stuff?
I'm giving you?
So
I'm waiting for you
I
to
remember the
continue.
movie.
more 90s references.
The movie happened.
Next, I'll talk about Short Circuit and LL Cool J and Moesha.
Oh, Moesha. Yeah, I got you there.
Moesha.
M
Mo
to
to the.
O to the.
Is it M to the or is it Mo
No,
to the?
no idea.
Ish to the. No, that
No,
makes
that's not it.
sense.
Moesha.
That's
And
a great
comes in
show.
with braids. Okay, well, I think we're done on YouTube. Have a great day,
Cool,
everyone.
bye.